Hello everyone, welcome to episode 3. Today is just me, Ellie, because I'm going to be talking about a song I wrote last November during my junior year of high school. This song has a lot of meanings, but I most specifically dedicated it to 3 of my friends from school. They all have different stories, and I don't want to go into detail about their situations because it's personal to them, but I wrote this because I wanted people to know and I wanted them to know that I was thinking of them. And yeah, I don't know. It's just sometimes easier for me to sing things that I can't say because I'm generally a quiet person. So when I try to talk and tell people what I'm thinking, even though in my head I have a lot of things to say, it doesn't come out the way I want it to. So I like to write songs because it's kind of like a journal and I can just write things down and then put a tune to it, and it's a lot easier for me. So yeah, this song is called You Always Matter. Okay, so we're going to start with the first verse. And the lyrics are, "This world is so good at tearing you down. The empty thoughts you feel when walls come crumbling down. And you don't want to go to sleep because that's when you think too much. But I know it's rough." One of my friends told me that something that's really, really hard for them is trying to go to sleep. Because that's when they're not distracted by anything. That's when they can just lay down and they have so much time to think. They said that thinking is super, super hard for him because then he just thinks a bunch of negative thoughts and sad thoughts about himself when he has time to think, and he doesn't want to go to bed because he knows that once he tries to go to sleep, he won't be able to because he's just going to keep thinking and thinking about those bad things. And for the first part, the empty thoughts you feel when walls come crumbling down, it is really easy when everything seems perfect and then something bad happens and your world is crumbling down to feel so empty and to feel so sad. And yeah, so right here in this first verse, I'm just kind of talking about their situation and things that they told me. Okay, the next part says, "It's getting hard to breathe. You're feeling tongue-tied, but all you really need is someone to move the tide. I know you feel alone when you're surrounded by people, and there's nothing I can do but just listen." So I know from my friends telling me that when things get hard, it can be really, really hard to say things and talk and really express what you're feeling, because sometimes you're feeling something but you don't really know what it is, so you can't explain it really well to people. And that's what I mean by you're feeling tongue-tied. But all you really need is someone to move the tide. So sometimes when things happen, you really just think, well, maybe if this person did this for me, then I would feel a lot better. I've seen this in all my friends. It seems like each of them all have everything perfect. They have lots of friends. They have lots of people that love them. And it seems like they're all surrounded by people, and I see them at school with lots of friends, but then they just tell me that they feel alone. They feel like they don't have a lot of friends. And it's interesting to see that because I think most of the time we just assume that people have a lot of friends when maybe they don't. Maybe they really do feel alone. And so when I say there's nothing I could do but just listen, I said this because going back to me wanting to write songs instead of talking to people about what I'm thinking, it's a lot easier to just listen to people when they need something to say, when they need to rant about something, or when they need to tell you something. You don't really know what to say. And so for me, it's just a lot easier for me to just listen because that's all I can do. There's nothing I could do but just listen. My family is being very loud, and the neighbor friends are over. Okay, so if there's noise in the background, it's because they're being really loud, and I don't have a lot of time to record this, so we're gonna do our best. Anyways, okay, moving on. So here's to the chorus. "So wait for the light. I pray for you every night. And if it gets worse before it gets better, please don't forget that you always matter." I love this line because I think when we think about things happening in our life that's hard, we think, well, I probably just don't matter because things just keep getting worse and worse and worse for me, and it seems like nothing's getting better, and I keep feeling more and more empty. So that's why I said if it gets worse before it gets better, because I feel like when we say things to people, we'll say, oh, don't worry, it's going to get better, and you matter, it's okay. But things can get a lot worse before it gets better. In that context, you always matter, no matter what. Okay, next to the second verse, those lies you tell yourself are all untrue because you have a plan that's only meant for you. So this is going to when we compare ourselves to other people. It's really, really easy for people to compare themselves to other people and think, I'm not doing as great as them, I'm not as happy as them, I don't have hair as good as them, or I'm not as expressionate as them. Well, that case may be true, but your plan is completely different from their plan. So your plan's only meant for you. You're not meant to be exactly like them, and thinking those things aren't going to make you happy necessarily. And this line is probably my favorite line of the whole song. Sometimes you have to fall apart and think that no one cares to understand that someone is still there. It's really easy to be in a bad situation or to feel alone and to feel like everything is really hard and that nobody's there. But sometimes it's after the biggest hurt, the biggest fall, the hardest part of your life. Somebody is using the blender right now. Okay, we're gonna wait for that to finish up and then we'll come back. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. Sometimes you have to fall apart and think that no one cares to understand that someone is still there. So going back to what I was saying before the blender happened, kind of going back to things will get worse before it gets better. Sometimes you're at the worst part of this moment. It's your biggest heartache, your biggest sadness, the hardest thing that's happening. You feel like nothing is going right and it's super, super hard. And then you finally realize that someone's there. Someone's trying to help you. Someone is finally trying to reach out to you. And sometimes it takes a really, really long time to notice that. But there's always, always someone there. Whether it's a parent or a friend or a sibling. So when I say let those tears keep falling down, don't try to tell yourself that you're happy. Don't try to tell yourself that eventually everything will be okay. Because when you think those things in the moment, it can be really, really hard. Just let things happen the way they're supposed to happen. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel sad. And then I go into the next part. When life falls apart before it gets better, they'll fall into place and you will still matter. So before in the first part of the chorus, it says if, but now it says when. Like when life falls apart. Because things are going to fall apart. Life is not going to be perfect, but it will fall into place eventually, even if it gets worse first, and you will still matter. You always matter. Next part is don't give up, don't give in, give it all you've got. I wish I could tell you things that you need to hear. Life's perfect, but it's not. So this is me telling them, I wish I could tell you that everything will be okay right now. I wish I could tell you that your life is supposed to be perfect. I'm sorry that it's not. Because it's not meant to be perfect. Things are going to get hard sometimes. But I'm still here after the rain falls, and hope is still near. Joy comes after pain. You'll be made whole again. Okay, so now I'm going to sing the song for you guys. I know that in podcasts people don't usually sing, but I was asking my family if I should or not, and they said it's my podcast. I can do literally whatever I want. So I'm going to sing it for you guys, and it's going to be in one take because the family's starting to be a little bit quieter. So it's going to be a little messy, but here we go. Open this piano. Okay. This world is so good at tearing you down. Those empty thoughts you feel when walls are crumbling down, and you don't wanna go to sleep, 'cause that's when you think too much. But I know it's rough. It's getting hard to breathe. You're feeling tongue-tied, but all you really need is someone to move the tide. I know you'll feel alone when you're surrounded by people, and there's nothing I can do but just listen. So wait for the light, and I pray for you every night. And if it gets worse before it gets better, please don't forget that you always matter. The microphone is being really weird right now, and there's a lot of background noise, so I decided that I'm only gonna sing the first verse, but okay, that's the song. Sorry for all the random cuts. The microphone was being a little bit weird, and sorry for all the background noises, but I didn't feel like editing today, so yeah.